What's up, everybody? I'm Finn McKenty. This is my second channel, and this is your home for my Twitch highlights and my podcast. So if you like this and you want to see more of that and you want to join the live streams, there's a link to that in the description of this video. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. What I wanted to talk about now is the Metalcore Starter Kit. That's what we were going to make together here on Twitch. Imagine that somebody came up to you and said, "Hello, insert your name here. I would like to get into Metalcore. Where should I start?" Wouldn't you want to be prepared? Because what if someday somebody asks you that question and you come up empty-handed? You're just like, well, I mean, you could, and you just start sputtering and you would fall apart, you'd lose your cool, and you lost your opportunity to potentially convert someone to being a Metalcore fan because you weren't prepared. Nobody would want that to happen, would they? I thought in this video, we would make a starter kit for anybody who is considering getting into Metalcore so that someday you'll be prepared for that conversation. So I have a few sort of categories here. I thought we could sort of pick a few bands from the big subgenres within Metalcore. I've got like At the Gates core, you know, the Metalcore 1.0 from the late 90s, early 2000s, and then of course the Rise core, the stuff after that, Gent core, lots of stuff to pick from here. I'll get it started. And also I'd like to thank Keeps for sponsoring this video. Keeps is a subscription service that helps men keep their hair. It may be too late for me, but it doesn't have to be too late for you. Look, the reality is that 2/3 of guys experience some kind of hair loss before the age of 35. That is actually right about when it started to hit me. And Keeps offers clinically proven, research-backed treatments to stop hair loss and improve hair growth delivered straight to your door. It's so much easier with Keeps. You don't have to go to a doctor or a pharmacy, but you're still getting a doctor recommended plan at about half the cost of a traditional pharmacy. And the best part is that you'll still have 24/7 care and support. Every plan comes with a year of unlimited messaging where you can connect with your prescribing doctor about anything, anytime. Whether you want to prevent hair loss, stimulate hair growth, or just take better care of your hair, Keeps is for you. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer on Keeps treatments, go to keeps.com/Finn or click the link in the description. That's keeps.com/Finn. The first place that I would tell someone to start if they were getting into Metalcore, if I was going to pick one band to tell them start here, it would be Killswitch Engage. And I think I would pick this song, My Curse. I think Killswitch was one of the first Metalcore bands to be able to successfully make radio-friendly music that was heavy. It really felt like those two things. It was metal plus core, still heavy, but still like radio friendly. Howard's vocals obviously were amazing. Jesse's great too. So I would tell them start here. It's got the riffs, it's got the melody. This shit still holds up. Great song. Howard is the GOAT. And Adam, amazing songwriter. Can't go wrong with this. Video's kind of bad. Is it a mid-2000s Metalcore video if you don't have a girl in some sort of white garment wandering aimlessly through a field or the desert? It's not. Mandatory ingredient for any mid-2000s Metalcore video. This era of Metalcore videos is so frustrating because I feel like they expect us to understand all this symbolism. Why is she wandering around in the field? Why is she drawing these plans? What does this bookcase in the middle of the field signify? I don't know. I'm too stupid. I'm terrible at picking up symbolism. I don't know. All I know is that this album has it all. It has the riffs, it has the hooks, it has the mosh parts, it's heavy, it's melodic. If I was to say start anywhere with Metalcore, it would be this album. Next, another band that, although I dislike this band in a lot of ways, although I think the singer of this band is a bad person and I don't condone his actions, I will say we can't talk about early 2000s Metalcore without mentioning As I Lay Dying, because I think if there's any band that really perfected that formula of At the Gates plus breakdowns, I would say it's As I Lay Dying. I don't think anybody did this style much better than they did. I think it's disgusting that people like forgive him for what he did, but all the same, the band was good. And look, what's really important, bootcut jeans with this shirt that's so short it's practically a crop top. Bootcut jeans, just take me back. I never thought I would say this, you know, because we've been in the skinny jeans era for so long, but take me back to bootcut jeans. This stuff reminds me of Winamp players, yes. The dive bomb. Nick is the man, I agree. The quintessential metalcore riff. Crop top and boots is the staple Austin, Texas look for guys these days. That's disturbing. I remember this look back in the day. Back in the 80s, the fellow old people will remember this. This was a thing. Dudes in the 80s wore crop tops, and it was majestic. Look at this. Who didn't want to be this guy? His fucking short shorts with his camel toe, his Wrangler crop top. This guy was the fucking man back then. The socks. In 1987, when I was 9 years old, if I saw this picture, I'd think, that is the coolest guy I've ever fucking seen. And all I can say, when I see Tim sort of almost get to crop top status, I just think, take me back. Male crop tops, bootcut jeans, that's all I want out of life. Again with the symbolism. Why is there this old man tinkering with shit? What is that supposed to symbolize? Exactly, I want the confidence of a crop top, not necessarily the crop top itself. Someone probably used this for an animated stick figure fight video. The clean vocals are maybe the place where these bands really added something more to the At the Gates formula, since obviously At the Gates didn't have that, at least not that I'm aware of. I feel like that was sort of the main contribution, the breakdowns, but then also the metalcore clean vocals. Yes, all metal videos are just the band playing and random shit going on in another room of the practice space. It's true. I also kind of appreciate how shitty like the resolution is on this video. You know, this is 240p. Clearly uploaded in 2006. They never remastered it. Would this video be the same if you were watching it in crispy 4K? It wouldn't. There's something about the 240p that makes it better, you know? It's like how some people, you know, you prefer vinyl, even though it sounds objectively worse, because there's something pleasing about that analog distortion and the crackles and pops. And when it comes to 2000s music like this, there's something about the low-res compression artifacts of 240p video that just takes me back. So I would say that even though I do not back As I Lay Dying, or I don't back Tim anyway, I would say this song deserves a place in our Metalcore Starter Kit. One more band that we should add to this list is God Forbid. Underrated band. I mean, they were certainly popular. They did well for themselves, but I think relative to Killswitch and As I Lay Dying and some of the other bands, maybe they don't get the shine they deserve now. God Forbid was one of the best. The most metal of all these bands, I would say. Which is ironic because God Forbid came up in the New Brunswick kind of hardcore scene. That's really the scene that birthed them. But musically, they were the least hardcore and the most metal of all these bands, I would say. But had the most roots in the hardcore scene. Metal-leaning metalcore, that's right. As opposed to metalcore core. Doc is great. I still talk to Doc all the time. Good friend of mine. I love that guy. I would say that, you know, on a musical basis, I would say Howard is the best vocalist of all these bands, but as far as the band, on an instrumental level, I would say God Forbid was the best of these bands. Play that thing, Doc. Give us some guitar face, buddy. Yeah, the video is really top tier mid-2000s video. Again, in glorious 240p. So compressed you can barely even tell what the fuck is happening. But that's the way we liked it, goddammit. Metalcore did have bops. A couple other people are mentioning August Burns Red. I think we gotta include them. Not At the Gates core, but of a similar vintage. August Burns Red, I would say, are maybe one of the first bands to do breakdown core. They didn't have like the At the Gates riffs so much. Like they didn't have songs. Like August Burns Red were like, fuck it. Or, I'm sorry, they're Christians. So they're like, freak it. People just care about the breakdowns. So let's just play breakdowns all the time. We don't need songs. Let's just play breakdown after breakdown after breakdown. And also one of the best drummers in the game, Matt Grainer, is a fucking machine. Yeah, and the China, that's right. Another big innovation that that August Burns Red gave us was to just absolute abuse of the China, which is very important. The China is the only cymbal that actually matters. Every drummer should have a version of their kit that is a kick, snare, China, that's it. Do you really need anything more than that? Man, Matt hits so hard. There's that China. No songs, just riffs, just China. The breakdown after the breakdown, the meta breakdown. And this video is maybe not the first, but I would say the template for all the metalcore grassy field videos to come. All the Christian risecore bands that had a grassy field video, they probably got that idea from August Burns Red because they were so big in the Christian scene. So if all that August Burns Red gave us was flagrant abuse of the China and the grassy field video, I would say that just based on those two things, they would deserve God tier status. I mean, this song makes no sense. This is just pure riff salad. There's not a single hook in this song. And the splash cymbal. I love splashes and Chinas. Can't get enough of them. Just some nice Christian boys from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, playing breakdowns in their uncle's field. Wholesome. Another band from this era, before we move on. Another band, important band from this vintage. I don't really like Every Time I Die because I'm not into the Southern kind of thing. I don't like skronky stuff and I don't like Southern stuff, you know, especially since these guys are from Buffalo. It's like basically Canada. So I always thought it was kind of funny to do like Southern style stuff when you're basically from Canada. But nonetheless, they were among the first to do it. They did it very well. Good guys. I don't love their music, but I support the band. Again, glorious 240p. Should we see it in 144p for the true 2000s experience? That's right, Every Time I Die is 240p personified. Straight party music, yes, if you're a nerd. But remember, normal people do not listen to metal at parties. Don't ever make that mistake. This is one of the gravest mistakes that any metal fan could make, is playing metal at a party. This is never a good move. It has never once been a good idea to play metal at a party. Trust me. You will get banned from the playlist very quickly if you're the guy that puts fucking metalcore on. One thing I really appreciate about this video is the drip. A lot of rolled up jeans, Keith's zany headwear. It's hard to even tell what his hat is because this is 240p. So it's just like a smear of pixels on top of his head. But still, I'm into it. I feel like there's almost definitely some Diesel jeans in here. He's wearing the same hat or similar hat here. You see he's got like, looks like a leather newsboy hat. Same kind of hat as prime 2000s Christina Aguilera. Only, unfortunately, Keith's a good-looking guy, but not nearly as hot as Christina because he doesn't have the low-light skunk hair. He doesn't have the weird, I don't know what you call this, like, you know, strappy 2000s party top. At least he got the hat, and we can respect him for that. God, imagine how insufferable and nerdy all the guys in this video are. If you're into this sort of like, you know, skronky, chaotic sort of flavor of metalcore, then Every Time I Die would be a great place to start. It's time for us to move on maybe to the next era of metalcore, which I would call the risecore or crabcore era. One band, of course, that has to be mentioned in that conversation is Asking Alexandria. Got a lot of songs, but in particular, the final episode, this is the song that really kind of blew them up. I see that it was set to 240p. I'm going to change it to 720. You know, by this point, 720 was state of the art, so I feel like we've got to watch it in 720. That pod farm guitar tone. Oh my God. The V-necks, the ripped jeans. This was the template for so many bands. How many bands saw and heard this and were like, yeah, we're gonna do this for the next 5 years? No, it really isn't a song, is it? You know they're British when they have a cup of tea in their video. As Jonathan Holbert points out, the riffing is influenced by At the Gates core, but no longer At the Gates directly. Exactly. It's interesting. This is one of the last bands that had the sort of At the Gates riffing. Kind of. Not exactly. I would be quite surprised if anybody in the band at this time knew who At the Gates were. I'm sure that they were copying the Devil Wears Prada or Killswitch or As They Lay Dying or whatever, rather than At the Gates themselves. So this was at the point where we were copying the copies, right? And then, of course, there's all the bands that copied the copy of a copy. But when it comes to Crabcore, ask Alexandria, probably the biggest of all these bands. Every metalcore riff sounds like a variation of Unholy Confessions. It does. Classic gang vocal. Oh my god. I wish that they would have made it more British and said like, Cole fucking hell. Or something like that. It's Tuesday, isn't it? That would have been better, but I'll take this. Oh my god. It's really not a song, is it? Total riff salad, but it's pretty good riff salad. I have to say though, if you're watching this and you think, oh, Asking Alexandria, great. I'll go check them out. They must be a great metalcore band. Be careful. Because this is what Asking Alexandria sounds like now. Now they play yacht rock. Hell yeah. Imagine Dragons yacht rock. I joke, but Danny is fucking ridiculous. He is an incredible fucking vocalist. But just be careful if you want Asking Alexandria to be part of your Metalcore Starter Kit. Not the new stuff, only the first album. Now, of course, we can't talk about Risecore, Crabcore without the iconic Stickly. Iconic. If anything, although Asking Alexandria was the more popular band, I think we can all agree that this was the real genesis of Crabcore. Like, this is literally where the name Crabcore comes from, because people thought they looked like crabs. We've got the girl in the white dress in a field. We've got the band playing in this weird location that symbolizes something. And of course, Attack Attack's patented auto-tune vocals, their biggest contribution to the genre. Look at that. The synchronized overhead guitar swing. This song makes no sense either. Here we go. Featuring a young Caleb on keyboards when he was like 14. Can you believe Caleb was like 14 or 15 in this video? Isn't that insane? What a talented motherfucker. That's right, this is Bill Murray and Beartooth, that's right. All of that was confusing enough for the metalheads who, you know, the newest thing they were familiar with was Saint Anger. This is what really made them explode, the trance part. With the jogging in place. That's right, people hated on this for like a decade. I think this sounds great. I think it's cool. Came out of nowhere, that's right. This made black smoke shoot out of every metalhead's ears for years. They were angry about it for much longer than anyone should be angry about anything. And if you want to add this to your Metalcore Starter Kit, if you want to have Risecore and Crabcore as part of it, you gotta have that song. However, I would say the better Attack Attack song is Smokeahanas. This is off their next album, and I would say this is the better song by far. This song is great. Still holds up in my opinion. I non-ironically legitimately think this is a great song. Not joking at all. I legitimately think this is great. This is only like 3 years later and it sounds so much better. Great song. So if you like Stickly, I would say definitely check out this Attack Attack album. Although the, gotta say, be careful. If you check out the Attack Attack album, This Means War, be careful with it around your parents because it looks like there's two big throbbing... It's actually a guy chained to a chair, but it just looks like two big veiny dicks. Another band you have to have on this list is the Devil Wears Prada. If you're interested in the Risecore era, arguably the band that pioneered this sound. They don't have a single fucking song in their whole catalog. They're total riff salad, but they did it well. Dicks out for Attack Attack. That's right. This video was probably really expensive, but it's bad because it makes no sense. The Devil Wears Prada is so good. Like, why would I want to look at this old man poking insects with a fucking pin? Is it the same old man as the As They Lay Dying video? It's a good question. It might be. Maybe he's collecting bugs for his museum in Animal Crossing. Would you like to hear some facts about beetles? Diddle diddle diddle. Every drummer in these bands played that exact fill. Always with the random ass old men in hardcore videos. Old men in music videos were never in more demand. That's right. I imagine all these actors now are like, you remember back in the 2000s, we couldn't find enough hours in the day to do all the work. Now nobody wants an old man in the music video. Times have changed, my friend. Times have changed. Yeah, they got a bunch of cute dudes in the band. Why did the director think an old bug man was needed? So let's talk about the next era, the gentcore / butt rock era, which I would say definitively started with Bring Me the Horizon's Shadow Moses in 2013, Sempiternal. I would say this song is the beginning of the butt rock era of metalcore. This is the beginning of metalcore bands playing boring rock with the goal of getting on Sirius XM. I agree with this. After this song, metalcore stopped being interesting. Now, to be clear, I think Bring Me the Horizon is a great band, and I think this is a great song. But very, 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 very few of the bands who copied them were half as interesting. Yes, it's shit because there's no transcore parts and no 240p videos. That's right. I just hate how good looking Ollie is. Ollie's Beatle haircut and his ripped sweater. Even with this, far from his best look. Even on my best day, I'll never look even 10% as good as he will, and it hurts my heart. Ollie is a babe. He sure is. That is a fucking understatement. I'm not crazy about this sound, but if you want to add some of this to your starter kit, you know, I know a lot of people like this. A lot of people like the Sirius XM buttcore kind of sound. I call it buttcore because it's, you know, it is metalcore, but really it's butt rock. If you like this sound, I would say that the song to add to that starter kit would be this one. This era of Bring Me the Horizon, they did it as well as anybody ever has. The other big song, of course, in that department is Doomsday by Architects. And if you've heard this song, you've heard probably about 80% of metalcore that's been made in the past 5 years, because this is the template for every metalcore song that came out after it. If you hear me joke about the Doomsday riff, this is what I'm talking about. I should be clear, I think Architects are a great band. I respect the shit out of them. They seem like awesome guys. They didn't necessarily invent this sound. There are bands like Fell Silent and Monuments and Sixth that kind of did a lot of this style of riffing before they did. But with the pitch screaming and just, I think that they really solidified this style as their thing. And I want to be clear, when I make fun of this stuff, I'm not making fun of Architects, just the same as I'm not making fun of Bring Me the Horizon. The only reason it sounds generic is because so many other bands have come along and run this style into the fucking ground. There it is. There's the riff. The riff that everyone else ran into the goddamn ground. It's not their fault. I'm sure they hate it as much as I do. The only riff we needed, that's right. Yeah, the guitarist, Tom, died. He wrote that riff, most likely. And Sam is a great vocalist, too. Would I choose to listen to this? No, I wouldn't. But I respect it. It's well done for what it is. And of course this, the other big contribution that they added to the scene, which I know for a fact that they hate because Sam tweeted about this. He started the bleh thing that every other band copied and ruined. And he said on Twitter, I wish I would have never made that stupid sound. So there you go. Poor Sam, poor Architects. I genuinely feel bad for them because they've been ripped off, shamelessly copied so many times. That's got to be annoying. And then lastly, the other example of this style that I would point to is Wage War, another one of the bands that is definitely in the vein of Architects, but I would say especially their first album, as far as new school metalcore goes, pretty good shit. This album is great. Is it the most original thing in the world? No. But it's great. The Slipknot era of metalcore. Wage War, Slipknot core, pioneers. Hell yes. Yes, here's the Freak on a Leash part. Exactly. This is metalcore trying to be hardcore. This is hardcore core. I mean, there's a solo. This is like people equal shit, isn't it? The Slipknot core era is upon us, and I would say that Wage War does it as well as anyone. That's what I think. I think they're good bands, especially this first album and the newest one. So there you have it, my friends. That is a brief introduction to the Metalcore Starter Kit. There's much more where this came from. The Metalcore iceberg goes very, very deep, my friends. It goes way further than this. This is only a handful of songs, a handful of bands, but if you wanted to get a crash course to metalcore, just a sampling, like, you know, you go to Olive Garden, they give you the tour of Italy that's like Parmesan chicken, lasagna, spaghetti, and something else. That's what we gave you here in this Metalcore Starter Kit, just a sampling of all the different flavors. There's much more where this came from, but hopefully you enjoyed this, or you can use it, you know, in the non-existent event that someone approaches you and says, hey, I would like to get into metalcore. Where do I start? Well, now you can just give them this.